So like, going back a little bit, what would you say was kind of the first moment or moments or time when you decided, I think this is a great career. Like this is something that I'd really like to do. Like
Um,
what made you, want to get into costuming?
well, I originally started my degrees in dance, actually. I was doing theater and dance. And right after college, I started teaching dance and choreographing. And at the other youth theater company I was working for, the director there knew that I had an interest in costuming, and she had been doing all of it. So she asked me to help her do it. And so I kind of just immediately connected with it and
Interesting.
just kind of grew from there and expanded.
So like when you have a production, like, one of our main stage shows that's coming up is Drowsy Chaperone. Like what is the formula, or like how do you just see it? Do you just see the vision of like the costumes or the era? Like, okay, she should be wearing this, or let's make this into that so it looks more like that era. I mean, how do you come up with some of these things?
Not always. Sometimes there's a very clear vision. It also has to align with the director's vision. So we'll communicate and see if we both kind of have the same ideas originally. And then it will go from there. And it can be piece by piece, like with Drowsy Chaperone. Both Drusha and I, we work really closely together on the costumes for her shows because she used to do it all herself and she has a good eye for it. And we're having a lot of trouble with the final number
Really?
on what the main dancers should wear. We've gone through a lot of trial and error with that, and we both couldn't really quite get the vision. Some new things came in today, actually, that I think will finally make it right. But
That's
that one's been a challenge. So,
really,
yeah,
it's so funny because it's, like in the 1920s.
20s.
Yeah. You would think that, 1920s, just throw them in like a 1920s dress or something. But, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What do you think the biggest challenge has been on that?
Well, specifically for that number, they're not always done this way. She wanted the main dancers to be flight attendants, and that's not traditionally what's done in the original production. And we were
Mm,
just having a hard time because technically there wouldn't have been flight attendants in the 20s because they didn't have commercial
oh,
planes yet. So that style that we think of is technically like 50s and 60s. So it just wasn't meshing right with the traditional look. So we were just playing around with a bunch of different things to
God.
make it look time period appropriate and match the colors. We were unsure of what colors to do because spoilers for that show, everyone gets married at the end. So there's a lot of white on stage, and we were like, do they be in white as well? Do they have a color? So yeah.
Do you guys ever think about also too, and just photographically, do you ever think like, ooh, this will photograph really well, or we don't really look into, or with the lights that hit it and stuff, does it
It's
make a
the
difference?
lighting you really have
Yeah,
to think about. And white is a big challenge with lighting. Lighting
it
designers
is.
really don't like white on stage, but sometimes you can't avoid it because it reflects a
Yes,
lot of
it
light.
does.
And that can change the lighting design if everyone's in white
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're reflecting all that light back onto the audience. It can be pretty blinding. So generally we avoid white, but sometimes you can't. You have to have white. So